Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here again to unpack some really compelling stories, insights from sources you share with us.
That's right.
And today, we're looking at a journey, really, of artistic transformation. It's quite profound. If you think about past experiences for the artists we're discussing, maybe a breaking point, an echo of survival. Well, this feels like a turning point.
A real shift.
Yeah, something new starting. Not just, getting back on your feet, but more like a resurrection, maybe.
I think that's a good word for it. Our mission today is really to pull out the key insights from this fascinating interview about exactly that, an artistic awakening. We're focusing on the artist Vane, also known as Vane Shadow, and his concept of rebirth.
Absolutely. So we're going to explore what it really means, to come back from that artistic dormancy, to feel that purpose again. And not just making songs, but building whole worlds.
Intricate worlds, yeah.
As Vane puts it, this is where the shadows start to take form. So, to kick things off, let's talk about the music itself. Those first two EPs have this deep, almost cinematic atmosphere. Was that intentional, or did it just sort of happen?
Well, according to Vane, it was much deeper than just deciding on a mood. He explained that the music from back then was really about expressing what it felt like to be on the edge of existence. Really raw stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, and the trigger, the thing that really set it off, was what he calls the PTSD of current events, a real sense of anxiety, like he was drowning again, and this urgent need to do something before getting totally overwhelmed.
But that's interesting, because he says it was just a reaction, but then immediately follows with the steps being well thought through with structured approach, like a promise to himself, if I do this, I will do it right, straight the way.
Yeah.
How does that work, reaction and structure?
It's a fascinating mix, isn't it? It points to his core idea, I think. He wanted to use tragedy as fuel, pain as a compass, definitely, but not just to vent. The goal was always to build something more interesting deep.
So you have this raw, almost primal emotional drive, but it's channeled through this very clear, disciplined vision for creating something structured. And speaking of building worlds, he mentions a specific universe he's creating. What's the link with H.P. Lovecraft? How does he describe this place?
He lays it out pretty clearly. Mystery, horror, pain, agony, perseverance, will, strength, tragedy, drama, things unknown, cosmic horrors, all of that.
That's a lot.
It is. And deciding to set these deeply personal stories within Lovecraft's universe, the ancient gods, existential dread that was about giving the stories the weight and, as he says, respect they deserve.
Okay.
He stressed that well-structured stories grew into this universe. He revisits places within it and says, with each record, we dive deeper and deeper into the mythos. So it sounds like it's constantly growing, becoming richer.
Well, so moving from those early, intense EPs. What about his emotional state when he was working on Down of Echoes? Had he started healing by then, or was it something else? And, how did that feed into the music?
Well, that's the thing. He actually thought he was healed. But then external events, triggers, brought back that anxiety. It showed him those issues were really just dormant, not gone. And he realized he needed to stay prepared.
So not quite healing yet.
Not fully, no. He sums up the theme for both Down of Echoes and Veil of the Abyss as basically describing someone completely overwhelmed, just struggling to breathe.
That sounds incredibly tough, almost like taking a step backward emotionally. He even said creating like that felt not good at all, like reopening old wound with rusty tools. Must have been painful.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't shy away from that, but then he says the result, the outcome, was as much liberating.
Really?
How so? When he listens back now, he feels not just accomplishment, but real satisfaction, because the songs truly capture what he was going through, but in this kind of poetic way. So, yeah, paradox. The pain led to release and ultimately fulfillment.
The title itself, Down of Echoes, feels resonant, lingering. When he talks about echoes in his music, what does he mean? Are they memories?
Yep.
Trauma? Ghosts even?
He's a bit careful here, actually. Doesn't want to spoil the listener's interpretation too much. But he does say, generally, that he revisits all my breaking life events on these records and builds stories around them.
Okay.
And he gives a concrete example mentioning his back injuries explained on one of the records in very detailed point of view. So yes, the music is definitely heavily influenced by memories and traumas.
But he also said something about ghosts having names.
Right. He adds that each of the ghosts carries a name. The idea seems to be that when those triggers happen, the listener might start to recognize what is causing it, like a descent into the madness. It's quite layered.
It really sounds like a deep dive into his own past. You can sort of see this shift happening across the EPs, though, from, let's say, just venting pain to building something huge, mythic. When did he realize that shift was happening, this move towards a bigger universe.
He pinpoints it quite clearly. The idea was born somewhere during the Down of Echoes. Because he knew then, he says, I will be carrying on with music for some time. It wasn't just a one-off anymore.
Right, it had legs.
Exactly. And committing to the Lovecraft mythos, as we talked about, was a big part of that. He felt it gave the stories the respect they deserve, but also, maybe more personally, it pushed him to care more about the universe and characters he was bringing to life.
That's a really significant evolution, moving beyond just processing your own stuff to creating this detailed lore.
Yeah.
So from the Veil of the Abyss on, it really became this universe that's as interesting as it is terrifying.
Precisely. And he clearly enjoys it. He mentions being playful with it, hiding Easter eggs all over the platform.
Like a game for the listeners?
Kind of, yeah. He calls it a scavenger hunt for people who really want to get into the details and connect the dots.
That level of detail is something else. Let's switch gears slightly. What about the use of silence? There are instrumental tracks, ambient parts.
Yeah.
What role does that absence of voice, that space, play for him?
He sees it having two main jobs, really. First, it's practical, to let the audience breathe.
Yeah.
Give you a moment to process, especially after a heavy track, with just instruments.
Makes sense.
But second, and maybe more artistically, he uses it to build tension. These tracks aren't just filler, they enrich the story, capture a specific moment that needs that kind of buildup. He gives examples like silence before the storm, silence after the battle, or the struggle and chaos during the collapse when no words are required and one is trying just to survive.
So silence is an active ingredient, shaping the experience. It's not just empty space. Following that, were there any particular songs on Down of Echoes that surprised him emotionally as he created them? Maybe turned out more powerful than he expected?
He says pretty directly that each record carries one or multiple scars. It's all deeply personal. But yeah, he did find some songs outperformed my expectations because the stories were evolving.
So the narrative took on a life of its own.
Seems like it. He realized stronger the source material, stronger the emotion. His whole process involves pushing myself to the limit every single time. And he likes that you, the listener, can track his evolution from the stage one, seeing how the music and the storytelling grew together.
It's like we're witnessing his journey alongside the story's journey. Now, speaking of evolution, AI comes up quite a bit. At this stage, was it still just a tool for him, or had it become something more, like a creative partner? How did that relationship feel?
That's a really key point for him. He says AI was a collaborating partner since day one, but it definitely deepened over time. As he fed it more, worked with it more, he developed a clear template. Now he sees AI as a partner that I can fully trust and rally on.
And it helped him improve.
Massively, he says. It enhanced his communication skills, my storytelling skills, and my composing skills, my writing skills, all of it. Across the board.
So emotionally, it wasn't just about getting tasks done faster. It felt like more. Maybe even therapeutic, like you said earlier.
Absolutely. He refers to the AI tools as my team of experts, helping him get the best results. And yeah, he talks about the dopamine and sense of satisfaction finishing each record brings. But crucially, he says it serves as a therapy.
How so? Therapy?
It helps him to process the pain, to seal the gateway, using that pain as a fuel, which then gets evaporated through the creative act. He feels it's actually more effective for him than traditional therapy burning it off through creation.
Wow. Turning pain into art as therapy. That's powerful.
Yeah.
But was he only focused on his own healing at this point, or was he starting to think more about the listener's experience?
He insists the listener was always central, right? Since day one. The main message was always, you are not alone no matter what. He wanted people to descend into the songs and lyrics, relate to the stories, and have that be part of their healing too.
So it was always outward looking as well.
Yes, though he says later he started caring even more about how the stories were told. He calls the whole project therapy mixed with huge respect for the source universe and even more respect to the listeners. That respect piece is why he refuses to curse in any of my work. He wants it honest, brutal, descriptive, colorful, yes, but never disrespectful.
He talks about creating for those who notice. That's an interesting phrase. What kind of listener does he hope these EPs find?
Well, firstly, he hopes to reach as many as possible that are in need of such message, people who are struggling. But also, he's definitely thinking about the Lovecraft fans, people who are desperately waiting for the Lovecraft universe to expand.
So he sees his music as adding to that world.
Yeah, like a soundtrack to the novels, games, and as an expansion. He designs it with that continuity in mind, wanting it to satisfy those fans too.
And thinking about that listener, maybe alone at night, dealing with their own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
if they listen to one of these records, what does he hope they feel when it ends, when that last note fades?
His answer is really clear. Hope. Hope that the bad times will pass and that something more is out there. Hope that difficult moments build resilience and character. A message to never give up on oneself. He directly links the work to mental health, saying it's a major reason he chose Lovecraft's universe exploring darkness to find strength.
It brings us back to that idea of rebirth, looking at who he was before the burnout and the artist he is now. What really changed? Was there one moment where he thought, okay, this is it, I'm back, but different?
He actually called that an excellent question, one that I never even dared to answer myself. Maybe afraid to look too closely. But he does identify a turning point. The second an idea was implanted from one of my friends, Mikey, to release the songs on any platform.
Just the idea itself was the spark.
Apparently so. He said, without even fully realizing it, he just went all in. Immediately.
All in how? What did that look like?
Not a gradual thing at all. He describes this intense burst, studying platforms, using AI for marketing, creating all the art for EPs, songs, stories, building the brand, the image. And he says, all the experience from my past as a musician, professional business skill, just accelerated everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he gives specifics. Setting up Bandcamp, planning release dates as these Easter eggs linked to Lovecraft's birthday or his own significant dates, creating strong visuals for every track on his YouTube channel, vein shadow music, long videos for the full deep dive, short ones as teasers, even embedding hidden glyphs, visual clues.
So it was a total creative explosion.
Exactly. And that intense period, he says, that was the moment the feeling long forgotten just kicked in. He knew he'd reclaimed my creativity once again, and he saw how the pain was the ignition, fuel, and that it is making my story so much stronger and meaningful.
So what specifically did he feel he reclaimed? What did he think was gone for good?
His answer is emphatic. First and foremost, myself, then my creativity. Losing music was devastating for him. This wasn't just getting back to it. It was, in his words, not just a return, it was a resurrection.
A resurrection.
Yeah, not of what I used to be, but of what I was always meant to become. He felt like he'd been gaining skills before that felt empty, but then AI offered the second chance. He grabbed it without hesitation and says, now, under no circumstances, I will let go again.
That's incredibly powerful. So after reclaiming himself, his creativity, did creating again give him power over the pain? Did the pain lessen?
He says, not necessarily. It didn't just magically disappear. But crucially, it gave me purpose. He describes it almost like a cosmic brawl. He wasn't just taking the hits anymore, he was fighting back, creating something from it.
Purpose, not just relief.
Exactly. The bigger goal became transforming that pain into something bigger, meaningful, impactful. Something that might offer explanation, relief, or even protection to listeners' readers. His hope is that it helps at least few people to process their issues, traumas, and pain, maybe even inspires them to use my approach to help them create their own universe, therapy, and armor.
It really feels like his own words capture the journey best. There's still a long road ahead, but for the first time in years, I'm not walking it alone. I'm creating, connecting, and healing one record at a time, whether it's recovery, therapy, rebirth, or the cosmos waiting to be explored.
It's a remarkable arc, isn't it? Taking the deepest struggles and forging them into something meaningful, connecting with others, and finding that profound purpose along the way.
What an incredible story, this deep dive into Vane's artistic rebirth. It's really shown how personal struggle, that pain, can become fuel for something truly purposeful. Building not just songs, but worlds, and finding that connection. It's such a powerful message, isn't it? About resilience, finding meaning, even when things are tough.
It absolutely is. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? It poses that question for all of us. How could your past experiences, maybe even the hard ones, become the source material, the fuel for whatever you create next? Or even just for your own personal growth? What are those shadows in your own life that might be waiting to take shape into something meaningful?
That's definitely something to reflect on, a powerful thought to leave with. And speaking of building things, next week our deep dive continues with Chapter 4, The Blueprint. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of Vane's process, his know-how. You won't want to miss that.